I'd like to welcome you. Thank you for joining us again for our cooking lesson. Before we get started, if you are cooking with me, please go preheat your oven to 350 at this time. And while my girlfriend, this is Desiree.
Hello, everyone.
She's going to be helping me today. She's going to be making a vegetarian quiche. And I'm going to be doing the ham and cheese and spinach quiche. We add a little twist to it. The spinach, I decided to do it the last minute. Somebody sent me an email asking me where am I getting my recipes from. All my recipes that I have been cooking for the last 3 weeks have been coming from my cookbook. Spice It Up, Recipes with a Sensual Twist. And you can find this on rosedogbookstore.com or on Amazon. So that's Spice It Up, Recipes with a Sensual Twist. Okay, so let's get started. What we're going to do is take out olive oil and about a teaspoon of olive oil, and we're going to put it in our pan along with some butter. Okay, so you want to turn your heat with your pan to medium. So we're going to turn it to about that. Let's see what yours look like. Okay, we're going to add our butter. Okay, so while our butter and olive oil is cooking and melting, take your pie crust and a fork. Go get a fork. And what we're going to do is poke holes in our pie crust. That way, when we put it in the oven, okay, so this is melting a little bit too fast. So when we put it in the oven, we're gonna, it'll steam will help come and the pie crust will start rising. So by you putting holes in it, it'll keep it from rising so far up. So we're only gonna cook this pie crust for maybe about 3 or 4 minutes. So we punch holes in the pie crust all the way around, and I'll show you once we get done with this, what it's supposed to look like. And that way it helps with the steam. And don't forget to get the sides of the pie crust. And it'll help with the steam to keep it from rising up so much. So if you can see the way that I've done this. Let's see. Okay, now go do the bottom.
In the center.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All over.
Got it now.
You got it?
I got it now.
All right, good girl. Okay, now we're going to put it in our oven. Put it in there. And we're going to let that bake for about maybe 3 to 5 minutes. So while that's cooking, turn up our heat. Turn them off. All right, so while that's cooking, we're going to go ahead and start with our filling. So I'm going to do ham, cheese, and spinach. Desiree is going to do broccoli, green beans, and spinach. So take... Use what?
Steam and
Well, we're going to saute them. So take your onions and you put it in your pan. I'll take that. And then I'm going to take my ham, whereas Desiree will start with her vegetables. And I used about maybe a cup of ham. Desiree, because she has 3 vegetables, she's probably going to do about 1/3 of a cup of each of her vegetables. All right, and we're gonna take and stir it up. We're sauteing this to get the onions kind of soft. Also, because we're using spinach, we're trying to get that wilted a little bit. My ham is already cooked because that's what you had from your Easter dinner.
So can I ask a quick question?
Sure.
Okay, so my pan is not
So just
turned
turn
up
your,
enough. Okay.
yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome, boo. All right. So this is ready to go. So what Desiree is going to do now, and myself, we're going to take our eggs. So I have in this bowl, we have 7 eggs, and we're going to put them into our measuring bowl. Bring your that bowl over here. This one? Okay. And just put the shells in there. Okay. All right, so once you get your eggs all in here, Desiree is going to go do, Desiree is going to put our half and half. We need about 4 cups, so 2 cups per pie of half and half. Also, I listed, if you have nutmeg, nutmeg is a real strong spice, but we'll want to put a couple of shakes of nutmeg in this. If you have it, if you don't, it's okay. No big deal. So let's turn these off. You want to cook it all the way. Put a couple of shakes of that. And then Desiree is going to blend this for me. Thank you, boo. All right, so if you're cooking with your, if you're cooking bacon, please do not put any salt into this recipe because your salt is already, your bacon is already seasoned with the salt. So what I'm going to do while she's doing that, I'm going to season our vegetables with a 1/4 teaspoon. Go ahead. 1/4 teaspoon of seasoned salt, 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder, and a 1/4 teaspoon of pepper. Okay, that's good. So we're going to stir that up because remember I said we cook and season in layers. So this is our first layer. So let's check our pie crust. Good. Okay. So here's the first one. And here's the second one. Okay. So now, you got your vegetables. So we're going to take your vegetables and you put it in your pie crust. Spread it around evenly. our next step would be to take our cheese and just put on top. And if this is not enough, we have some more in the refrigerator, honey.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Let me get some more. Okay, so we're gonna add some more cheese. Okay. All right, so that's that step. Now, our next step, as Desiree did, she blended the half and half and the eggs. So, all right. So we're gonna pour that on top, and we may have to end up making some more for my quiche. We'll see. Nope, we did good, boo.
Perfect.
We
Perfect.
did good.
Perfect.
That's what I'm talking about. Okay, so a little tip. If your oven is off just a little bit, it'll start spilling out. So we'll put the quiche on a baking pan, and that way if it's off and it starts spilling out, it will come into your oven and then you'll have to clean it. So we're not trying to do any extra work at all. So, all right, we're gonna put a little paprika on top.
I like this part.
You like this part?
Yes. Yes.
All right, we got a little paprika on top. We're gonna put it in our 350-degree oven.
Do you need my help or you good?
I got it.
Okay.
See, just spit. And we're gonna let this bake for 50 to 55 minutes. So if you could set the timer for that for 50 minutes. So, okay. So, what time is it?
Yes, let's go with the time.
Okay, we're gonna go with time. It's 1:14. We're gonna come back. What I'm gonna do is, I've made one in advance. I'm gonna plate that, so just hold on. Desiree, if you can cut me 2 slices and put it on this plate. Let's do it this way, 'cause I'm not sure. Okay. So, this is the finished product of the one that I was cooking.
This one?
All right, so I'm gonna show you a little secret. So we're gonna cut this quiche when it's done. Right? So that first piece is always hard to get out. So if you cut your pan where you've cut your quiche, fold down the metal.
That looks absolutely delicious.
Thank you, boo. So you can fold down the metal, and you can get your pie, your spatula up and under that. Here's another piece. All right. So So this is what my spinach, ham, and cheese quiche looks like that I just finished doing another one in the oven. Once again, all recipes are from my cookbook. At the end of each chapter, there is a note page. So if you saw anything today that you might want to put or write down in the cookbook for your notes, please go ahead and do so. This recipe was taken from Beat You with a Wet Noodle. That's a chapter that's in this cookbook. And I think it's on page 59.
59.
Yeah. So I hope you enjoy it. And once again, you can get it on rosedogbookstore.com or Amazon. Okay, well, I'll see you next week. When these get done, we'll plate it and I will put a picture out for you guys to see. If you've made this with me, once it gets done, I do ask that you please post it on my group page, Spice It Up Cookbook. All right, I'll see you next week. I got a treat for you next week.
Bye.
Bye. You did good.